That one. Good afternoon, everybody. How are you today? I'm feeling a little bit more self-conscious today because I've been mic'd up. So now I can turn my phone down because I can hear you can hear me. But Rob's, it's not a very nice fashion accessory, is it? We'll have to think about that. But I thought it would be a good day to try out the mics, because then I can keep sewing at the same time while talking and you can hear me. So who's here? Oh, you're all here. Good afternoon. Hello, Joan. Good to see you. Robin, Wendy, Marie, Just Made, sat in the park. Ah, nice spot to be. It's a lovely day here today. A little bit overcast now, but it's nice and warm. Good afternoon, Denise and Marg and Maggie and Susan. And Jenny is here, sweetie. I love you too, sweetie. You make me laugh. Louise, hang tight, mate. Hang tight. We're nearly there. Good afternoon, Judith. I actually have your lovely machine out today. Well, not yours. My 570. And good afternoon. Who did I miss? Linda and Karen. Karen, you're back in the kitchen again. What is going on with you? You're always in the kitchen at parties. Banana muffins. Nice. They will be ready for, well, we could all have an interval, couldn't we? We could all have an interval this afternoon. Good afternoon, Vicky and Bridget. It is lovely to see you. Jeanette, tune in later whenever you absolutely like. And remember, they always go up on our Lisa Chandler YouTube channel too. There's a little Bernina bit now for that. Oh, Meg, I'm in stereo. Yesterday's in one ear and today's in the other. You make me laugh. Good afternoon, Melanie. Bronwyn, no apologies required. Cuppa at the ready. Well, I've got my cuppa, and I didn't have one that long ago, but I just felt that, you know, get that 2 o'clock nap feel. Someone from the Victorian government and the health department need to tell the possums in Aspendale Gardens that you may not congregate in parties more than 2 possums on the roof from midnight to 6 a.m. It was possum party, and I just felt like saying, guys, we're all in lockdown. You're not supposed to all be together on the roof last night. So I didn't really get the best night's sleep. They were having a lovely time. It gets sad when you're actually jealous of the possums on the roof, isn't it? It's not a good thing. Barbara, good afternoon. Oh, lunch. Salmon and asparagus. I've got my asparagus. Woolies on special this week. That dates the video now, doesn't it? That does. It's on special this week with the lamb, which is going in the oven straight after the show. We're going to have a Saturday roast. Just a slow cook Saturday roast instead of a Sunday today. Anyway, I digress. So, it's our 3rd Bernina day already. It's going to go fast, isn't it? Like the other 2 sessions, I keep promising a Bernina club, and 2 projects down, 2 to go, and then we can get started on a little club. But aside of that, these little sessions on a Saturday afternoon, if you are joining us for the first time from anywhere in the world, from my girls up on the Isle of Man and Scotland and all over the place, and Costa Rica, the whole bit. The whole idea of today's show is to just talk about the features of your machine, and not so much moving on and actually learning the skill. Does that make sense? A little bit like you buy the car with all the features, like I said last week, but I'm not going to teach you how to drive. That comes in the club. What today is about is just making sure that you understand all of the cool features of your Bernina, or if you've got another machine. You know, it's really important to watch too, because it makes you go off and read your manual and see what features you've got similar or different on your machine. That's what it's all about. But making sure that you've got all the bits and bobs sorted and you know where everything is on your machine, and any extra little bits you might need to complete the picture. And I've had a bit of fun with the whole analogy that when I've explained to people what our new website is like, it's like buying a sewing machine and buying the feet to go with it, because we subscribed not sure which is the best term to use. Steve knows better than me, as you well know, a Shopify website platform. And then we go and buy little different apps, like your phone apps, to put on it to run your block of the month subscriptions, or to run special offers like we did yesterday, or lots of little different features. Or, you know, down the bottom now it says what's new, so it shows you what most recent things we've uploaded onto the website. Same with your machine. You're buying your beautiful Bernina, and then sometimes, not as much, but sometimes you might need to add a couple of little extra features. And in talking about things that we do with the feed dogs down today, if you bought a machine that does not have a BSR with it, a Bernina stitch regulator with it, then you are going to need a number 9 foot to get started. It's just not one of those things that Bernina put in. And when I did speak to the Bernina semi-gods, you know, like the son of God that visits, why do we not put a 37 foot and a darning foot, and there was another one I wanted in there, in the pack when we sell a new Bernina? And he said, when we sell these beautiful Berninas now, we've reached a point with the history of Bernina that the stats are pretty high. 75% of people, and it'd be true for my customers that buy one of these whiz-bang new Berninas, they're upgrading from another Bernina, so their feet match. So a darning foot is a great example of that. It is commonly used across all of them because it's not relying on feed dogs. It doesn't matter how wide your feed dogs are. So remember we talked about last week, we did the 9mm machines, and the week before the 5.5. So it is a stock standard foot, but a lot of people already have one. So I kind of got it. But it is something that you will want. There's a couple of other ones that I want to show you today, and then we are going to have a look at the BSR as well. But it's just, again, getting the hang of what you do when you want a free motion quilt. I absolutely love second-to-hand applique. Love teaching machine quilting, and I'm so frustrated we couldn't do it this year. A lot of you and me, I had 4 days fully booked machine quilting workshops, and we lost the lot. So we're just going to do that as a Bernina club, and film it and show you and talk and do all of that, probably through Podia. And as we've got to do it. There are so many fantastic ones out there. You can go and look at so many people, YouTube's, courses, everything on how to machine quilt. But I think it's a little bit like embroidery. It's good to collect, for want of a better word, different teachers and different techniques. And I don't know, I think some of you have said it, and you're probably right. If you buy a machine that can do it from someone, you'd actually like that someone to show you how to do it. And I get that. You don't want to, if you've bought, Louise is getting her machine tomorrow, she doesn't want to learn how to use it from someone on the other side of the world or across the state. She wants to learn from me. Perfectly fine. We're going to FaceTime, get her started, and then we can do some little classes, because you know I'm not very good at reading the manual, right? It's all hands-on. There's no manual today either. Manuals away. Just going to work with the machines. Who did I miss? Now I've been gabbling on. Who did I miss? I know Kathy's here. I know Jane's here. Oh, Michelle's here. Woohoo! Anne's here as well. Hey, Anne and I have a common thing. We have a queue. I've been a little bit complacent today. If I falter when we get that BSR out, it's because I haven't used one on a machine. I'm going to fess up for just a little while, because I own a Q20, which is the big free motion. We're going to have a day on that too, right? So I haven't actually put one on a machine for a while, because that's all the Q does. It's full on BSR. So that was a bit of a laugh, and we will all have a laugh at Lisa when we get to that. All right, so you know I have notes for these days. First thing first, we need to have a look at the machine. Let's have a look at the one we're using today, because it doesn't matter if you are on a 475 who we pick on today, Michelle. 475 like Michelle. If you're on a 570 like Judith and like Kathy, or you're on a 720, which is Jenny Miller. I don't know who else is watching today. Jenny Miller. Oh, Anne's got a, oh, you've got a 770 QE as well. Oh, we're in the elite club, Anne. But I'm a dealer, so, you know, I'll just give you a bit of guilt there. Deb's got a 770, haven't you? I think you have. It doesn't really matter which one you're on, Bernadette. You don't have to apologise for being late. Linda's got a 750. Okay, so it doesn't matter which machine you've got when it comes to this darning foot. And I'm pretty sure everyone that's going to be watching today, if you've got a Bernina, you are here because you've got one of the newer ones with the big bobbin case, and or it is compatible with a BSR. So my first Bernina was the 440, and at that stage they had just launched it, and shock horror, they came with the BSR. Wow, that was huge. I think I've told you, Philip learned to quilt with the BSR with Jenny Bowker before I did, because he was at the Melbourne Craft Show with me when I bought it. So this we will come to. But if your machine is compatible with a BSR, that's brilliant. And if you've got one like Lou from a previous machine, it will come over onto your new machine. Right, so I have taken off, so we're going to run with the, just with the 570. As I said, it doesn't matter. Now, I could so easily get sidetracked today talking about threads, talking about needles, talking about batting, lots of different things. I have to stay true to the course today, and we're going to focus on the features and the feet of the machine for free motion work. Then we can talk about all that other stuff as time goes on. Oh, Joy, you've still got your 440. I love my 440. It's actually out playing with Phil's girlfriend at the moment. She's got my 440 making pajamas and things, but I do love my 440. So I've taken my other foot off. Now feed dogs, you know where it, oh, it's the only thing I can't show you with the cameras the way they're set up. Your feed dogs are around here. So when you push that button that's got the little teeth down the bottom, and it's just above your foot pedal plug, you're going to push that in, and immediately on the screen your little feed dog sign here is going to shine yellow. What happens if we push that button? Oh, feed dogs up and down, and then you get a little video of where the button is. There you go. Oh, that's all very nice, isn't it? If you turn your machine off and turn it back on again as well with the feed dogs down, it will remind you that they are down. There's nothing worse, isn't it, when you start sewing a new project and you start and you go, it's not going anywhere. What's wrong? So feed dogs are now down. Hey, how dirty is that? I was chuffing along on this machine this morning. Oh, Tim, you really don't want Tim to see. Oh, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. I take that back. Now I've done that, I'll pull out my bobbin. Pop it back in. I think we might do just a little bit of maintenance next week, folks. We'll get in there and clean our, wrong way, Ollie. We'll get in there and clean our bobbin race in there. We're going to do all of that. It's very scary, I know, because when you take it out, sometimes it's a little tricky to get back in. It's not. You've just got to remember a couple of basic things and you're good to go. Okay, so feed dogs are down. Please remember that when you put your feed dogs back on, so if I push the button now, this goes back to white. Nothing happens. That is because it won't move until you engage the mechanism again. So when you start sewing, they will interlock. So they're not hydraulic. They don't go down like a lift and back up again. They actually will engage when you start sewing. So don't panic if they don't come up when you start off. So what shall we pop on first, besides putting the platform back on? Let's grab a number 9. So this is the all-important number 9 for darning. Linda, oh, you're straight onto the big questions. Straight onto the big questions. The big question is, which stitch plate is best for free motion quilting? Oh, someone gave me an angry face. Did I do something wrong? Tell me if I did something wrong. I saw an angry face. My goodness, I don't know. Never seen that before. So best plate, you can run with a normal plate, Linda, but you can also run with a straight stitch plate. I'm going to come to that. So that is your number 9. That's got the full ring circle, and that is the best thing to get started with if you don't have a BSR. So I'm going to pop that on, and she says I'm on that awkward angle so you can see the screen. I'm going to pop my thread back through here, and I'll turn those feed dogs off again because I popped them on. One thing to watch, if you've got a 570 or a 770 or a 790 like we talked about last week, remember that you can actually go in and you can program your machine, well, not your machine, your foot pedal, to do different things for you. So it stock standard is needle up, needle down, which is the same on your 475, okay? But here you can come in and you can actually change it to do a finishing stitch and a knot, lots of different things. So when you do come to doing machine quilting, might be a good idea to remember to put it back to needle up, needle down, because I do really like being able to use it to do this. Oh yeah, I can do it. Look, I can do it anywhere. You can do it here with your foot, but if you get used to using your foot, then what did I do? Oh, okay. Smart machine, Judith. Smart machine, Kathy. You have sensor foot on. You have I've got a number 1D on, and the machine's going, you cannot do this with that foot. I need to tell it I've got my number 9 on. You happy now? You be happy now. Yes, you are. And that's really a great safety thing as well, because it's going, what are you doing? You've got a 1D on, you've got your feed dogs down. It's not safe. So it knows now that it's on. Okay. So do you get the whole concept that if your feed dogs are not on, that means there's nothing to pull the fabric through. So like we talked about with the feed dogs last week, width is one thing, but this action of them moving back and forward, you can use that to control the stitch length. So they move only a little bit back and forward if it's a really small stitch, and they're doing the whole thing if it's a big one. If you drop the feed dogs, there's nothing, absolutely nothing to move the fabric. So now if I put my fabric underneath and start sewing, it's not going to go anywhere. It's just going to stay in the same spot. So this is where you start to pat your tummy and rub your head at the same time, because you're in control of moving the fabric. And of course, with no feed dogs, it doesn't just have to be front and back, it can be sideways, it can be anywhere. So let's see if I can impress you. Hey, that quilt on the back wall, sorry, that I put that up there because I know how long it took me to quilt that with a BSR. 46 minutes. 46 minutes flat out for a deadline. I will never forget. And I did a Melbourne one after that. 46 minutes. This is why we learned to free motion quilt. All right. Good afternoon, Helen. Who else is here? Oh no, not Eileen Campbell. I'm the queen of free motion quilting. No. Oh, pressure's on. Good afternoon, Eileen, buddy, chum, pal. Good to see. Oh, this is like my mecca free motion mentor watching. You can't see me face palm at the moment. Okay, here we go. So we're going to go needle up, needle down again. If you have a 475, just as a little upsell for you, please remember that you can upgrade your foot pedal. You can get the foot pedal. You can buy it. I think they're about $100. The same as that come with the bigger machines. That will give you that needle up, needle down function on your foot. You can. It doesn't come with it, but you can. And I have done that a couple of times for people that do a lot of machine quilting or thread work. All right. So I've brought my thread up from underneath. I'm going to go slow. Okay. So the fabric will only move where I move it. So I'm actually moving it with my hands, just slowly. So I can go right, left, and I can go up, down, like that. So it will go in any direction that I want. Please, please be really, really kind to yourself. Machine quilting is just one of those things. It doesn't always come naturally. It takes practice. I've probably taught 3 or 4 people over time that are able to do it straight off. It takes time. And the most important thing to remember is practice drawing it. If you can draw it, then you can quilt it. And I do mean that, because if your brain is used to drawing a leaf or a flower or anything, if it's used to doing that, then it will be able to do it. Did you buy the book? Good, Jill. Very pleased to hear that. If you really want to try something to start with, write your name. Just write your name, because it's something that you do all the time. Sorry, I'm a lefty, all the time. So have a go at doing that first. So, but your darning foot is going to be the best place to start. So a number 9. When we come to doing machine quilting classes per se, then we'll get into a lot about how to do different designs and how to build up your skill in free motion quilting. I'll give you a quick go now. See, at the moment I've still got my hover foot set that we spoke about as well. I might just turn that off, you know, because so we'll go into settings, stitching while I'm stitching, and I'm going to come into the functions when my needle is always down, and I'm going to change it. I'm going to set it so the foot always stays flat down when I'm quilting. Thank you, Miss Audrey. So now when I stop, she'll stop with the foot down. Okay, I'm going to get a pen, and I want to show you a quick little thing I want you to try as we start to build up our skills. Jill, you can so quilt. I've seen it. You've won prizes. I've been there. You can too. All right, 5 fat fingers. I want you to practice with 5 fat fingers for me. So you're going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can't see that, can you? Hang on. You see that? 5 fat fingers. And what I've done as I've drawn them, I've actually rotated them round, so they're sort of all pointing out in a different direction. That is the sure way to start learning to stipple, like that. If I go back the other way now, in reverse, you can see that gives you an idea of how to start forming a stipple design. So practice drawing it first and draw it onto your fabric with a Frixion pen. There are no rules that say you can't have it drawn on. Eileen has thin baking paper to do her lorikeets through. There's no reason why you can't have a bit of pen on there, absolutely. The other thing that's really good when you get started to practice is points, and that comes in really important when we choose our functions with our BSR as well. What did I do then? Talking at the same time. There we go. Now the question about stitch plates, yes, particularly with the 9mm machines, I would love you to save up and get yourself a straight stitch plate if you don't have one. I think a couple of them come with straight stitch plates. Definitely use it, because when you're going at high speed, it just keeps your tension a lot smoother, because there's not a risk of the fabric getting dragged down into the slits. And of course, you know, needles, folks, if you're about to embark on a new quilt, put a new needle in. It's going to make a huge difference. Okay, we'll just do the quick little thing I want you to practice as well. I want you to practice points. It gives you great control. You do a petal, go back. Okay, so I want you to practice doing this as well, so that you go out to a point and come in, and you're coming back into the same point, and that's going to start giving you nice control when you're sewing. And you'll note that my speed was pretty much constant. The feet on the Berninas are really good to get into a spot and keep it there for a constant speed, because if you get a constant speed, then that means you're not having to rub your tummy and pat your head at the same time, Jill. You've only got to rub your tummy. You've got two things going on, you're eliminating one. The other thing that you can also do is turn down your speed all the way down to as far to the left as you can. And remember, you can also go into your master speed in here, and you can drop that down as well if you want to. So you can bring that down. If I do that, that means that I can put my pedal to the floor and find a comfortable speed with my pedal all the way down. So now if I go, and that's my pedal all the way to the ground, and we are going really slow. So now I can speed it up. But it means that my foot is flat to the floor, and I'm only having to worry about the speed at which I move the fabric, not how fast my foot's going. So it gives you, if you like, a little bit of regulation. Then if you get comfortable with that, instead of having to use your foot, you can actually then push your start stop button and run with that. Okay, I'll probably go a bit faster. So you can just have a little bit of a play. Remember with your start stop as well, you don't have to push the button to stop. You can actually just tap your foot, and it will tap your foot pedal and it will stop for you as well. So what I want to do now is just have a little chat about tension, because we've just started quilting and we haven't thought about, are we on the right tension when we've got batting? If I have a look at this, it's actually not too bad. There's a little bit of a pull there, but it's not too bad. But we can also do what we did last week and tell the machine that we are quilting. So if you come in to your little mannequin, do you remember our little mannequin? On the 720, it's down the bottom along here. I think it's up here, 475. My 475, no offense, girls, is on the floor. Hang on. Where are we on that? We are on the side, the same as the 570. So you'll come in here to this home button and push it, and then you'll find your little mannequin on here. So if I push that, it says, oh, I've been in here already. Sorry, let me get back. No, go back. Let's do that again. Push in here. And we're going into the mannequin, and it's saying, what type of fabric are we sewing? Well, yes, we have batting in, but aside of that, I'm still on cotton fabric, so I've pushed this one. When you come into this screen, remember last week we looked at decorative stitches and stuff, I'm actually going to quilt, and here's my free motion quilting here. It's got a little squiggle. That's the one over there for my walking foot. So I'm going to push my stipple squiggle, and it's going to say, wow, what we suggest here at Bernina is that you can use your straight stitch number 1, but also we'd like you to put a 42 on. Well, you know what a 42 is, don't you? If that was ever an upsell, that's the 42. But we don't have to. We can run with, we can definitely run with our 9. So I'm going to say, yeah, great. What it will actually do is mess around with your tensions for you. So it's going to tell you the best one to use. Sorry, it's going to mess around and, and take into consideration, is what I'm trying to say, that we actually have a darning foot on and we're free motion quilting. So now it's all set up and the machine knows that that's what we're doing. I'll just show you again. Home, mannequin, go back here. We are free motion quilting. There we go. So it knows what we're doing. And then it will adjust the tension if needed, so that it knows you've got batting in there. It'll probably loosen it off. If anything, it'll loosen it off If you're doing heavier fabrics with batting, it'll tighten it up. It does it all for you. So that's your number 9. And we had a little bit of a play. Just a bit of a play. That's that one. Then there are a couple of others that I wanted to just show you as well. This is a number 29. So you can see this one's got a really lovely clear, a really nice wide clear foot on it. So this is really great for if you are quilting and perhaps top stitching down at the same time. That'd be a really good foot to use. But also because of this wide slot across here, just like the one on the machine, you can quilt with a zigzag. Heaven forbid, yes you can. So there is one for the 9mm wide machines. It just means that it's got its sensor on top as well, and this is the one for the 5.5mm. So I'm now going to pop this one on. I want to show you what this does. And then also along the way in your travels, in your bits and bobs in a shop, you might see a number 26 and go, why do I need a number 26? This is actually free motion embroidery, but intense free motion embroidery. Okay, there is an open toe one like the one I've got on the machine. That's a number, gee, I better know my feet numbers, don't I now? A number 24. There's one like this, and I am so sorry, I've sold all of mine. I haven't got one here. There's a number 24 that's got an opening on this side. That's great for machine embroidery because you've got a bit of a gap. You can see where you're going, and to be honest, it's really easy to get the threads in and out in a hurry when you're changing all the time. So there's a 9. Then is actually one of those attachments for your BSR. Then if you go to this one, see how small the hole is? So this one you run with a straight stitch plate, and this is really for intense machine embroidery. If I was doing full-on thread work all the time, I would probably use this one, but definitely this one is the go-to must-have on when I'm using my machine embroidery module, and this actually comes with the machine embroidery module. But again, it's another option for you if you want to use one. So we've got, I'm going to put this one on and show you what this does. Because, so you can really see where you are going, but you can zigzag. And it wasn't that. I saw it at a show. Oh, it wasn't the Melbourne show. I need to say that in case Nathan's watching. I saw someone zigzag quilting, and it didn't really do it for me. But then I saw someone using it to do thread work. That it halves your time if you want to fill in some thread work for anything like machine embroidery. So I'll show you. It's very, very cool. If you use this foot on the 475, so on the 5.5s, sorry, the 475s with the 5.5mm gap, you will be able to get your stitches, of course, out to 5.5 wide while you're stitching. And if you're on a 9mm, you're going to get bigger ones. So you're just going to get a slightly different effect. But it is really, it's very, very cool. Which watch wear foot? The one that I've got on Marie is a number 29. It's a little bit like bingo. Number 29. It's very cool. I forgot to say, I didn't get Steve to tag anything for today's show because it's pretty much Bernina stuff. And you go in, you're going to see that there's quite a few feet that are out of stock. We got a shipment in yesterday, and Steve's going to upload those when he gets here. I think it's showing that we're out of bobbins as well. There are 10 packs. We just physically got to put them back on. So when he gets here very soon, he'll fix the stock levels. So just hang tight. If you wanted to get anything today, just hang tight, and we will fix that up as soon as he gets here. I forgot. I could have done it myself. I do have the technology, but I just forgot to do it because they came in late. Oh, he's telling me again I've got the wrong foot on. I do love these machines, but I haven't used one for a while. There we go. I do forget to tell which one I've got on. See, also with these smart machines, sometimes it will change the foot pressure, based on which foot that you tell it you've got on. That's how clever it is. You want camera 4? Very, very clever. Right. Okay, so all right, so I can just do straight stitching. Glasses. I can just do straight stitching. Like this. What shall we do? Shall we do a leaf? Let's do a leaf. One side. Oh heavens, I might have gone a bit of degree of difficulty above what I'm capable of doing. Okay, so there's our little leaf on there. So now if I turn this way and I'm going to zigzag, so we'll pop our zigzag on, and I'm going to go quite big to start. Let's go about 6.5 wide, and then I'm going to narrow up my zigzag as well so that it's only about 1 mil apart. This is so cool. So usually I would do this and I would be moving my hands myself to go back and forwards, and it would take 3, 4, 5 times as long as shading like this. Can you see that? I'll take it off in a minute. Let me just get down the bottom and then I'll show you. And of course I can narrow off how long the zigzag is as I get towards the point. So I can drop it down. Okay, now I've missed a couple of bits. Let me come back. Oh no, I can't go back that way. Got to go back this way. All right, I'll give you a look. Very, very rough and ready, but look at that. How quick is that? I've shaded that. How close can I get it for you? You see that? So it's literally gone back and forth and back and forth and back and forth really fast. If I did that manually, that would take me 5 minutes. But because it's literally zigzagging, if I slowly move the fabric across under the foot, I'm literally getting heaps and heaps of backs, literally like a back stitch fill. Very, very cool. So what you would do if you wanted to do full shading like this, I would have a paler color out here and I would put the paler color down first, just using a basic outline as a guide. So I've stitched it, but you could draw that on and just cover the edges of it and then pop another color over the top. That is fun. And you can do this quilting if you balance it out with a heap of tight stitching around it. Otherwise you would do that first perhaps in a hoop before you actually quilted, but that is what that foot will do for you. So you can zigzag free motion at the same time. I'll just do a straight bit for you. Of course, what's also happening is, you know, you can mess around up here to get an idea of what it's going to look like, but ultimately it's up to you how far apart those zigzag stitches are, because remember there's no feed dogs. So I didn't actually say it, but that's really just as a guide for me to see how big it's going to get. So if I spin that out, so if I go slower, they're closer together, and then if I go big, they spread out. There you go. So that's what it does. So you can see there's potential here. If you had a quilt finished and you actually wanted to use a zigzag to couch down a ribbon or a braid over the top, you could use it for like that. You can also see it's bunching a lot here. I would come back and just have a play with my tension to get this right, and I might actually stabilize it a bit more in a hoop, just with the batting and everything in, but that is what that will do. So it is just another very cool foot that's going to give you different options. So I'll take that one off, and we'll get ready to throw that BSR on, I think. My stitch plate's in the other room too, and I would probably put a stitch plate on if I was going to do a heap of work seriously today with it. I'll be honest. So if you haven't got one and you want to make sure you get the right one for your machine that's just got the little hole here, then please do. If one of my guys is around and is listening, it's on my desk or on the ironing board next door if you want to get it for me. I don't want to leave everybody. I don't want to leave. All right, so I must confess then, as I said before, I may or may not have been a little bit blasé about putting a BSR on a machine today. So I just go to my queue. So that was very naughty of me. And mine is out of its tin because I sit mine in my fancy schmancy accessory case now. So there's an actual spot inside there just to take out the whole foam bit and sit it inside. So let's take this off. While I'm doing this, threads. So, oh my goodness, we could have a whole day talking thread. We could have a whole day talking batting, all different sorts of things. Really, really, you should be able to run with any thread on the top, any thread on the top. Where I want you to just be that little bit more careful is what you've got in your bobbin, because there is this beautiful partnership that happens between the thread in your bobbin and the thread on the top all the time. But when you are going nice and fast, when you're quilting, that relationship is put to the test, is probably the best way to put it. So you want a thread on the top and bottom that are really compatible with each other. Obviously, to run cotton and cotton is the traditional thing to do, and that's what we've got in the machine at the moment. But then you can mix it up a bit if you want to. You can run a thread that is designed to go in your bobbin as well. So you can run your good cotton on the top also with a fine polyester. So I use, as you know, I use bottom line for my base, and I love it to bits, and I use it with all my threads, and it's my go-to. So that's what a bottom line reel looks like. I was so dedicated to doing this, we put these up online before we actually put embroidery threads. But I can run bottom line with my cotton on the top. It's super, super fine. The Berninas love it, and it will flow through really, really nice. And it will work with cotton on the top because they slide against each other. They're fine together. When you get to machine embroidery thread, like the ones that we've got on special in the packages a lot of you grabbed or are grabbing that we put up yesterday, then the relationship becomes more important. So if you're running a non-natural thread in the top, which is what I learned from Bob that founded and started Superior Threads at the University of Threadology in Utah, Bob said, if you're running non-natural thread up top, you need your non-natural thread down the bottom. You run poly with poly. You also run poly in your bobbin with metallic in the top, and we're going to talk about metallic threads, just the basic rules on using them to get you going with that on Tuesday. So that is absolutely important to get a beautiful finish. Sure, you can spend hours messing around, you can play with your machine, you can change your tensions and everything, but if you just want to be able to sit down and go, this is your tried true method to get it right. The other thing too is make sure you've got good needles, make sure you've got a sharp needle and a new one. And if you are running metallics or fine polys like I'm going to now, oh, it looked very serious to put the frown on, sorry. If you're going to, make sure you've got beautiful needles. So again, I'm a Superior Thread top stitch girl. I will run an 80 or a 90 for normal sewing on cotton. I'll run an 80. It's just slightly finer if I'm going through, say, applique that's got adhesive like steamer seam or Vlisafix in it. That's going to, if I have to unpull it, it's going to leave a mark. Yeah, so it's better that it's a finer mark. If I'm going to be using silk fabric, then I will use a 70 again, so I get a really, really fine hole where my needle goes in. if I'm doing, what else do we do? Oh, 100, I use 100 size if I'm running 12 weight chunky thread through. But all of them have a lovely big eye, so it makes using your automatic needle threader a little bit easier, and also it won't shred your thread. So it's my lobotomy on needles for the day. So I'm going to take this off. Oh, nearly did it, didn't I? You've got to cut your thread up the top. And you have to pull it through from underneath so that you don't upset these tension discs up here in your machine for your upper thread tension. Speaking of the lobotomies from Mr. Tim, if you need your machine serviced by Christmas, book it in. Book it in. He started talking about going away at Christmas, if you can get across the border to go home. So please make sure that you get in touch with me and or him and get your machine booked in with him if you want it done before Christmas, like Louise has. Okay. Ooh. Hey, the other thing, don't forget that your thread tension is engaged when your foot's down. Remember that. So when you're trying to pull and it's hard to get through, your tension is engaged when your foot is down and it's released when your foot is up. Just remember that. So you don't want to be yanking or pulling on your thread when the foot's down. I'll pull that one out. Also, when you first get your machine, and we got bright orange in our cues, which looks quite hideous in the beautiful red bobbins, and then you get this flash white when you get a machine. If you can set that bobbin aside, please do. Please keep it. This is important thread. Who said what, where, when I missed something? Hello, Yvonne. Did you say you use bottom line with cotton? I do. I do use it sometime with cotton. Don't have to, but you can. They will behave together very nicely. And me, but I threw you both a loop with an upgrade. Oh, yes. So Melissa's going to upgrade her 770, yeah? But the upgrade's not here yet. Yes, it's not here yet. But it is coming. So we're getting yours serviced, aren't we? And then we're doing the upgrade. Okay, this thread is the universal test thread that Bernina use. So when you get your machine serviced by Tim or anyone else, this is the thread they should be using. It's a little bit like the gold standard, you know, like gold standard McDonald's fries. Did you know that? Okay, that's another story. So this is the gold standard thread. This is a really good thread just to keep aside if you ever want to test a stitch out, if you're talking to your technician on the phone, and you want to be using what they're using, that's the thread. So it's a Metler, but it's good stuff. And if you're leading up to Christmas and you go, I haven't got any bright red thread, just remember when you bought your Bernina, there's a cute little box in that box still of black, white and red thread. That was me the other day. I couldn't find the red thread. And I remembered there was some that came with the machine. All right, let's take that out. So I had the bottom, I had my king tut in the bottom and in the top. King tut will be stocked very, very shortly on the website as my go-to cotton. Oops, used it, Mary. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But when you get Tim to service your machine, get him to fill your bobbin with it again if you want. It's just a good. It's the test thread. I don't think anyone realises that. But it's the one, well, that's what they tested your beautiful machine with before it left the factory. Let's just whack some bright orange on here. Okay. Find the end. So, yes, we have got little bundles of joy in Metler Polysheen embroidery thread. Available on the website because we had bought a full stock to use with the shop, and at the moment there's no shop because we can't open up and do what we were going to do. I'm having a little bit of a reset with stock, so there's some great specials there. And Marie Evans, you're absolutely right. Steve had done your full order. It was ready to go and I have captured it. He had got a little bit, you know, carried away. last night. But to that end, what Marie had asked was if we could please hold her order to combine with any other ones that she would place, but we missed it in an email. So I think what I might ask very nicely, if you would like us at any stage to hold your order, pop it in the comments on the order rather than a separate email, because the emails often come to me and the orders go to Steve, and those two do not always meet at the same time at the critical moment. So that might be the best thing to do. All right, so I've got a lovely variegated on here, and we're going to set our stitch back to 0. And why are you, oh yes, did you know, just if you get a wonky stitch sometimes, it's because you've knocked your stitch width button. It's very easy just to knock it sometimes if you're leaning over like I had. So just, it's not wonky, just check that you are at 0. I'm going to pop in some black fabric first, and I am just going to pop back on my number 9 just for a minute. Just do a little stitch out on this up one end, and I'm going to do my best to keep my stitches even. Ha ha. Oh, okay, I changed feet on you. Yes, I did. Heavens, he's just too smart and fast for me today. Okay, you good now? Thank you. Right. So I'll just bring my thread up. I do like my thread up when I start. Here we are. So let's see how even I can keep them. We'll do the swirl. Okay. So, can you see that? Yeah, you can. So there's my first attempt there. Now that's after doing this for, I don't want to tell you how long, probably do 25 years, probably, since I learnt to free motion quilt. And, you know, it takes a bit of practice every now and then, because if you haven't done it for a while, it might take you a little bit to get in the rhythm. So if you want to learn in 5 minutes, so with a BSR though, you learn in 5 minutes, not in 25 years. That's the pitch. But I know most of you watching have got one. Yes, if there's anything that you would like me to order for you that is not on our website showing we've got stock, please let me know, because I need to get those orders in, at least get those orders in with Bernina. They are very low on stock of everything at the moment. What can I say? There are no boats coming out of Switzerland. So if we wait until the stock arrives, usually by the time it arrives, it's all sold. So we need to get a little bit ahead. I don't think there's any BSRs at the moment either. So I sort of need to get them organised and lay-by too. Okay, here it is. We're going on. You have got, do you know how much these things are, by the way, if you don't have one? Have you looked? These are $800. Just thought I'd say that really fast for this little piece of technology. Marie Evans, special metals fabric. I don't know what that means. Did I miss part of the feed? So this is it. But the other thing to remember is it's actually 3 feet in one, so you can take off your standard number 9 darning foot bit. So a darning foot on its own is $40, and then an open toe free motion foot on its own is $40, so I can click that one on, or you can put this groovy one on. I love these disc bases because if you're doing applique, they will ride up to the edge of your appliqued flowers. Oh, it's out of stock. Sure, I'll get some more. And there may be some in Australia. If not, I'll need to order it from the US, but I can get some more. Really? Wow. Who's responsible for knocking all that off yesterday? Well, I don't know. So these are really, really good. They will also flatten down the area that you're working in. So if you've got quite a dense batting, they're really good for that. They've also got different radiating rings so that if you need to measure out from the edge of something for echo work, they're super good. So these feet on their own are about $60. So, you know, you're up to interchanging about $100 and whatever it was, $140 worth of stuff before you even get to the technology. So you can pop that one on. They click on and off really easily. I'm going to put the straight darning foot one back on to show you, so it's the easiest to see. You attach it on exactly the same way. Remember I couldn't do this last week because I'm sitting on an angle? Oh my goodness, I don't want to put my head, there we go, in your way. Right, so he's on, but then we have to go to the back of the machine. And we need to plug in this little guy here. And at the back, there's a little sign that says Bsr. You've got to press that in firmly. So make sure it goes all the way in. To get it all the way in, the little plug sits vertically, not on the side, it goes in that way. Now, once I've done that, look what happens on the screen. Oh, magic. Well, you did very well, Joy. Oh, yeah, absolutely. See, with the 440, it was all, wasn't it? But do you know, it's interesting. It's a little bit like Airfest. The price of we paid for our 440s back at the start is not that much less than what the 475 is now. It's very interesting. But yours did come with your walking foot and your Bsr. And years of happiness. Years of happiness. Okay, now you have a Bsr screen and it knows it's on. Now, what do I want to show you first? Oh, tough one. You have two different settings of Bsr. You have a number 1 and a number 2. The other thing you have is a beep noise. Hear that? That may drive you nuts, and I'll explain what it is in a minute, and you can turn it off. And the great thing about the upgrades in software for everyone's machines, now it is easy to find the beep turn off button, which is great. So the first thing we'll do is have a little bit of a play with number 1. So the difference with them is number 1 will start sewing when you put your foot down or when you push this button, and it won't stop until you tell it to stop. Number 2 will stop sewing every time you stop sewing. So they have different uses. Number 1 is great if you're doing really pointy stuff because you're getting those extra little stitches when you're going fast doing points, so you don't get a drag. You don't get a drag of the thread from underneath or on the top. So to get ourselves going, just tap your foot and it will go down. This is like when you go a car with the automatic parking for the first time. You go, oh, I don't want to let it do it. I don't want to let it do it. You're going to have to do it eventually, folks. You're going to have to push the button. So you've got two options. You can run with your foot pedal to run it, or you can use the start stop. So if I put my foot down, it will, why, what'd I do? I didn't shut the front door. There you go. Got to shut that bobbin door, don't we? So when I put my foot down, it looks awfully fast, doesn't it? And it sounds a little frightening, like when grandmother used to use the pressure cooker. It's all that psyche going on. The first thing that you want to do when you get it on and you start sewing is the default setting for your stitch length is 2 mil, and that's why it looks super fast at the moment, because he's trying to get 2 mil stitches running and keeping up with how fast I'm moving my hand. So I'm going to turn up my stitch length. Let's pop it up to 3 and let's see how that goes. So foot down. Oh, sorry, I've got to engage it again. Ah, my bad. Okay, off we go. So you can see as I slow down, it slows down, and as I speed up, it speeds up. But you get perfect even stitches. Ta-da. All right, we'll do a finish for you and I'll show you. There you go. You can just see that. There you go. So my stitches now, no matter how fast or slow that I went, they are all the same length. And the whole thing is that, as I said, points are really good with one over the other. Everyone has their favorite setting. That's number one. I will confess I'm a bit of a number two girl. So I will set that for you. What happened here? There we go. But how nice does that thread look too? It looks good. Okay, let's put number two on and give you a whirl. Okay. So you can see this time it doesn't stop sewing when I'm sewing. It keeps going. Hello. With the microphone, you don't need to talk louder. I'm sewing. Okay, I'm fine. I'm getting used to it. Rob's complaining. Alright, so it'll keep going when I'm stationary. And that's really nice if you're doing pointy things. I have no idea what I'm drawing. Absolutely none. Okay. So look, did I touch anything? I did not touch my tension or anything, and it's absolutely perfect. And that, you're going to give 90% of that credit to the machine, and the other 10% to yourself for your needles and your threads. What will happen is if you stop sewing with number two when it's still going, you're going to have to stop it. It will keep going for 7 seconds. If you use number one where it stops on its own, then it will shut down the laser pointer, which is what it runs off in 7 seconds. So I'm going to push this again. Actually, I'll go back to number one. See, it's up, it's ready to go, and the light's on. And it will start sewing when I start sewing now. And when I stop, it stops. Can I say the best thing to do when you start playing with this is have something drawn on your fabric. You don't necessarily have to free motion. Go to town, have a really good, mess around first, and then have something drawn on, or an old piece of fabric you don't want anymore with a big pattern, and practice going around it. That, it's also like getting a new car and putting it in the middle of an oval. You don't know where to go or what to do, but if you give yourself a little bit of a roadmap to practice on, then it's much easier to get the hang of it. You can see the light's gone off again, and then if I push it, it engages. Hello, and we're off. Oh, it is a joy. It is a joy. There we go. You can still use all your other functions like your automatic cutter and securing stitch and things if you want to. There you go. So, it is all about what you want to get out of your machine, but it's really good to know what it can do. And I think that's just one of the lovely things, or one of the fun things about having a machine. And then buying the BSR, because it's there, the function's there all the time, and then you actually plug one in and go, oh well, hello. It's like this whole alter ego personality to the machine. Oh look, I've unplugged and it's reminding me to put my feed dogs back on. Isn't that lovely? Oh, that is just so nice. Okay, so just back to threads again. I want, if you're going to have a go, if you've got your Bsr and you have never used it, you need to get it out and you need to give it a go. You have to give it a go. And you need to just go through, try. I'd probably try number 1 first and then number 2. But again, one will suit you, one function will suit you better than the other. If you have that sense of beep on, it's going to beep at you really loudly and rudely, and you'll go, you know, within a couple of days. And the reason it will is that you've got your confidence level up, and all of a sudden you're going to reach a speed that the machine's warning you it can no longer keep up with you to regulate the stitch length. Anne hasn't rung me, but Libby has. And gone, something's wrong. Every time I take off and I've got going now, it keeps going beep at me and brings up red lights and I don't know what's happening. And I just laugh and go, all of a sudden you've got good because you're going faster than the machine can keep up. And that, how fast it can go, again, will depend on how long those stitches are. So if you're doing tiny little ones, it won't be able to keep up with you as much as if they're long ones. So there's lots and lots that you can, there's so much you can play with. You can do a little zigzag as well with your Bsr. There's no reason that you can't. If you pop on any of the feet and also that disc one, you can do the zigzag with your Bsr. If you do a narrow zigzag with it, you can sort of use it like thread painting, like that would be reeds of grass and things like that, or coral or something. So you can use it for doing different things. You can also couch things down, of course, with it as well. So there's lots and lots of different options of what you can use it for. It's the machine again. The machines are never going to limit you on what you're capable of doing with different creative stitches, and it just depends on which machine you've got as to what the features are on it. So if you have a 475, you can throw a Bsr on it. You're going to be able to free motion quilt anything and everything that you want to, top stitch, applique, the whole lot with it. The only thing you're limited by is your throat width, and then when you come up to a 570, you've got a bit more, and if you go to a 720, you've got more. So it's really just to do with the throat width. But with the darning feet and the Bsr, of all the features, it's pretty even Steven across all of the models in this new generation that have got your big bobbins. And this is where you're going to love having a big bobbin, because you're going to be able to fill that up with so much thread, particularly if you put bottom line in it, which is super fine. You can get near on 3/4 of a reel on there and it's on, and you'll be able to do a good part of a big quilt off one bobbin, which is fantastic. Fantastic. So they're all of the feet that I want you to look at to start with. So a number 9 darning foot, we've got those in stock. If you haven't got one, get that going. If you need a stitch plate, there is one online for you to order, but if you're not sure of which one you want, pop an order in for one, but then write down in the comments for me which machine you have. The straight stitch plate for the 570 and the 520 are the same. Sorry, no, that's not right. Sorry, the same size. The 5s and the 7s have the same size. The rectangle is the same, but I need to make sure you've got the right one, whether you've got a 9mm or a 5.5mm. Sorry, I've got to make sure I get that right. So just order anyone, but then put in for me which model you've got, even if it's a 710, 750, whatever, and I'll make sure that you get the right plate. That's really important. Needles as well. Go through your needles and just have a look at what you've got. If you've got jean needles, stick them over in that box. If you've got beautiful needles for quilting and piecing, they go in that box. If you do machine embroidery, you'll have different ones, again, for high speed with your module. Put them in another box with your machine embroidery foot. So just break them up so that you don't start quilting and go, this looks shocking, and realize you've left the jeans foot on. You've just got to be that little bit of discipline. The other thing too, when you do start doing a lot of machine quilting, the amount of stitches that you do is going to increase rapidly. So you think about it, when you piece your quilt, you're going along nice and calm. All right, maybe you're a speed piecer like me. I reckon Barb Lawrence's speed is definitely a speedster. Oh, who asked me a question? Deb, can you use the BSR as a darning foot if you don't plug it in? Yeah, of course you can. Absolutely. I don't see why not. I've just said that really confidently, haven't I, Deb? I will give it a whirl. I'm pretty sure you can, because it's not... Let's try it. I'll try it while I'm talking. Yeah, I'll try it. So, sorry, what I was going to say, just be a little bit more mindful that you are going to be doing a lot more stitches than when you're just piecing. So that means up the frequency that you clean your machine, up the frequency that you oil your machine. So I really want you to do that. Should we just do that quickly now and I'll do it again next time? Should we just talk about oiling our bobbin race? Should we? We'll do it. We will. Let's do it. What did I say? I don't need a new machine, but now I want a Bernina. Yeah, you do, Di. You do want a Bernina. Where's your local dealer? Get down there. Get one. You do need one. I'm sorry, but I am the most informal dealer on the planet because I was a Bernina user long before I was a dealer. So for me, I'm really a Bernina quilter, sewer, that happens to be a dealer, not a dealer that happens to use Bernina, and I'm the other way around. It's dreadful, dreadful. Okay, let's try this. Let's try this, and we'll see what happens, and then let's do a quick clean, hey? Oh, I'm all for it. And then we'll do it again. Now, question, can we, and the reason I need to check for you is that, yes, on a queue, you can. So, is Lib on today? Is Peter here today? Karen's not here, so it's just me and you, Anne, I think. No, I can't see that anyone else has got one here. All right, let's just stick this under and see what happens for Deb. And so, yeah, on the cues, we have two other functions. We can just run them manually with our foot. And we also have a tacking stitch. That's pretty cool. I don't know, and if you can say, why would you want to tack a whole quilt with a machine to hand quilt it if you love machine quilting? Well, I'm a bit naughty. I use my BSR tacking function to tack down pre-shaped large applique pieces. There you go. The answer is yes, Deb. Yeah, the answer is yes, you can. There you go. You can use it manually. I've used mine as the guinea pig. We're good. So you can use it. Right, now, what do I need to do? I'll just push this back a little bit. So you're going to have to bear with me for a minute because I am going to have to go and get my brush and my oil. So I'll pop you back on here and you can look at that quilt and work out how I did it, and I'll be back. Robbie, where's Steve? Did you hear that? It's like, where's Steve? I think they've deserted me and they've gone to the storage unit. Right. Oh, where's Steve? Oh, okay. All right. Mr. Australia Post. Okay. All right. So let's take this plate off as well. And you've got, first of all, remember you've got your little microfiber brush. If you've been to an Enyo party and you have spoken about the technology behind the end of the bristles on your Enyo brushes, same deal here. it's got little bars on the end of these little bristles. So it is absolutely perfect for getting in and giving it a twist and cleaning in here. What you want to do is avoid at all costs pushing any of this fibre down into your machine, because you can't get in here. Only Tim can get in here, and that's why I look after mine as best I can. But my 720s had a service with Tim this week, just because I thought, I reckon there's a fair bit down there, and I just felt it had been 6 months, because usually I sell my demos and I haven't sold my 720. And sure enough, he produced for me a lovely little bag of fluff that was in spots that I couldn't get to. So there you can see that? There's stuff. Look at that. Heavens. Not a lot. I've seen worse, but that's out. Okay, so that's all clean. Now you're going to come down, push a button on the side, your little arm here, to release your bobbin and take your bobbin out. And this is the scary bit, and it's not really. Grab onto that center spike in here. So that you're going to grab onto that. I might drop this a bit. I'm going to drop you down, folks, just a little bit. There you go. That's a bit better. So if you hold on to this center little spike or spur in the middle of your bobbin race, just give it a little tug before you pull it out. You're going to find that it is magnetic. Okay, so you're going to hold on to that. What I didn't tell you to do first, of course, is undo the lever. Over on this side, you've got a lever here. You're going to click that, and then this will drop down like a spaceship door. It's not like you've reached the point of no return. You're okay. Now, I told you the possums were on the roof last night, didn't I? Half asleep. Okay, so grab onto that, and before you pull, you'll feel it. It's magnetic. So if you just pull it a little bit and let it go, it'll literally click back in. That's where we need to get it back in when we go back. Okay, so what, Linda? Oh no, I have the cogs of death. Does that mean they're really dirty? Heavens. Oh, good afternoon, Mary. You can rewind. We'll wait for you to... I could love to say we'll wait for you to catch up, but it doesn't work like that, does it? Okay, so you're going to pull this out. Now, before you pull it out, get down low and have a look. There are two little circles that look creamy white, and one of them sits at 10 o'clock and one sits at 4. So all I want you to remember is 10:4, okay, to put it back in, 10:4. So I'm going to pull that out. Look at that. That is the inner workings of your bobbin race. That's a pretty special looking thing, isn't it? That's just one of those things for a stir. I would love to go to a Bernina head office Christmas party and wear that like a pendant round my neck, and then we'll go, which machine did you steal that out of? All right, so it is a beautiful thing. In here are these two little white dots that I was talking about. Anyway, have a look at yours. I don't know if you can pick them up. I didn't set up for this, did I? So I didn't test it to see if you can see them. But there's two little white dots. If they are super white, you actually have a problem. They are dried out. What the white is that you can see, and you'll also be able to see little bits of it sticking out on either side on little slits. That's a beautiful piece of felt that sits underneath inside the bobbin race structure that needs oiling. So if yours is super white, your machine is dried out, and you need to give them a little bit of love and a little bit of oil. If you order new oil pens now, you're going to get these. We're not being cheap and nasty. It actually means that they've changed them over, because we did have a few that leaked, yeah, of the other ones. So just a little dot on each of those is going to go a long way. You can under oil a machine, you can over oil a machine. I like to do mine by sight and by sound. If my machine starts to sound a bit noisy and a bit clunky, it's time for a bit of love, and I will pull this apart. I'll check it's all clean. I'll give it a little oil, and wow, does it make a difference. So put that back on there, and that is all I need to do. So you can get in here, underneath in here, and look for bits. It's really important to build up the confidence to open up this machine. When Tim was still servicing machines from our warehouse last year, it was amazing the amount of machines. I'm not blaming and shaming, I promise, but it was amazing the amount of machines that came in because they were broken or broken down. All it was that there would be a little bit of thread somewhere stuck in here, so every time you fired up with a securing stitch at the start or a finishing knot, it would catch on something. They are finely tuned machines, and therefore they need, you know, a little bit of thread is going to get you in trouble. So we're going to pop it back in, and we're going for the 10-4 again. So this little spiky bit, I think, is the bit that sits up the top. You'll see as well there's a little ridge on this side, and that kind of helps you remember as well that that's going to be 10 o'clock and that's going to be 4. So if I pop it back in, just sit it in, she says, just sit it in and wind it round. There we go. There we are, and we're in. Hi, Steve. Hi. We missed you. You poor baby. Are you all right? You feeling a bit overage, are we? Yeah. Is that a big party on Zoom last night with friends, or your COVID shot, love? Oh, Stevie had his second COVID shot. He's a legend. And we thank him gratefully, and I promise I'll look after him today, girls, because he's gone and had one. Do I oil the race cog area? Yes, I do, Bronwyn. That is another little spot that you can get into, and I can tell you where it is today, but I can't set the camera up for it very well. So that's back in. When you first take it out, you can't get it back in. Don't panic. It'll just pop back in. Just have a little bit of a play and rotate, and remember you've got 10-4 going on with that little Sharpie bit up the top. So this little thing that looks like something out of Star Wars as a weapon or something, that's at the top, and your little oil pads are at 10 and 4. The trick is that when you actually then go to put it in the machine, it can twist a little bit in your hand, but there you go. There. And you pop that up and you're all done, and we can put your bobbin back in. In the top, yes, Bron, we do, absolutely. It's just, well, I do. It's amazing. Every technician has their own little favourite spot to stick oil, but we have seen over time over oiled machines. So as I said, go by sound and go by where those little discs are at. And I said if she starts to get a little bit noisy, just stop and give it an oil. The one thing, my oil pads seem to be different. Do they, Anne-Marie? I'll go and have a look at my 790 and get back to you, but they should be the same. I'll have a look. All right, so when you can't see, but when you do this turn round, oh, here's a little bit. See, mine's dry. There's a little, you'll be able to see it rotating inside, and at the back you can see a little bit of a rotation as well. I drop mine right on that wheel that's turning, or that disc that's turning in there under the feed dogs. Just give it a little bit of a turn back and forth, and then give it a run. If you put too much oil in, or if you by accident, just do a little test stitch out on a little piece first for me. Don't go straight back onto the white quilt. I've never had oil leak on my Berninas, but just, you know, just be that little bit careful, and I will check out Anne-Marie and my, I can't see why it's any different, mate, but I will have a look. When's the play day? This is what I want to know. When's the play day? Is that on the 440 as well? With your 4, yes, absolutely, 440, same deal. get that race out and give it a good clean, Jen. And then a little bit, just a little bit in the top. None of these other holes on the top of your plate, they're not for oil. They are for screwing bits and bobs and gadgets and wonderful things into. You don't put oil in those, as some people have. They think it's an oil hole, and it's not. I was just wondering if I could go and get my 790 and quickly have a look, but it is packed away in its trolley, so I won't do that to you this afternoon. Okay, so all the other things. Oh, Ada, you were late. Fine. All the other things, just, you know, it's so hard, isn't it? Because you buy this magnificent machine and you go, oh, I'm also going to need a walking foot. Yeah, you are going to need a walking foot for quilting. Talking walking feet with machine applique as well on Tuesday. If you want to tune in. I'm pretty sure you girls are all savvy with your walking feet, but we will talk walking feet on Tuesday. That goes with threads and machine applique because we're doing Michelle Hill's quilt launch on Tuesday. So that will be that day. And then the other things you need, you know, you're going to need good safety pins. I've bought these for our website. They're not the bent ones. You can get the ones that are bent on the bottom. They don't really do anything for me, so I just got some really good prim ones to pop up on the website. Remember to leave your pins open, so once they're open, leave them open. You don't have to close them up again. Too much work. Just be careful. And then when you go to start using them, don't prick yourself by pulling them out of the container. Just upend it onto the quilt to pull them out, and be very, very careful not to get threads mixed in with your pins, or you have to pay a child to sit down for 2-3 hours and unravel them to get them undone. The other thing, when we get to machine quilting demos and stuff with club, the trusty bull clip. So when you're next in the newsagent, this is what I use for bull clipping or clipping and securing my quilt onto a table so that I can pin it for machine quilting. So I don't know, there might be a cool thing to ask the grandkids to get you for Christmas. Hey, I need some large bull clips, so get them to grab those for you. What else? I think that's it. Good needles, good pins. Sorry, not good. Yeah, good safety pins, good needles. Get your thread combo working well for you. So when in doubt, cotton with cotton, absolutely at the top. And then if you do switch to artificial threads, go for a fine poly on the bottom. But you can run bottom line with King Tut on the top. I don't know about any other brand, but I know that they work really well in a Bernina. And the more stitching you do, the more frequently I want to check that your machine is clean for me, because we just, you know, we've got to keep our machine technicians in business, but we also need to keep them happy. And I don't want to hear mine whinging. What? I'm back. Day 1 of snap lockdown for Northwest Victoria. Oh, Meg, you're stuck in that, aren't you? Oh, I've forgotten about that. I looked at that last night. So Majura's down, yeah? Joy, can you buy new brushes? Yes, of course you can. They're not on the website, but I can organise one for you. Just drop me a line and we can organise that for you. Yeah, have a couple. Just have a couple. If you've got a couple of machines, just have a couple of them around. Holy cow, I need a Bernina lampshade. Do you like the lampshade? Do you want? I'll give you the quick story. There is a company that owns Bernina and, sorry, not all of Bernina. They own 49% of Bernina and Benetex Fabrics. So Benetex Fabrics prints Bernina fabric. And then we did the lampshade with like the lampshades we had last week. No, you don't need one, Lancaster. You don't. You don't. Is there a different walking foot for my 770 as opposed to... No, that is a really good question, Melissa. Same walking foot straight across the whole lot. Same one right through. And I'll show you that on 2 different machines on Tuesday. So no, use the same one right through, which is great, isn't it? Same one. So you'll use it on the same. Resant thread. Sorry, Steve? Yeah, sure. Yeah, oh, the girls and I are saying bye in a minute. So that's fine. Steve didn't want to be noisy printing out stickers. Rasant thread. Rasant thread is a really interesting thread, and people either love it or they don't. And I think a lot of that has to do with the machines that they're running it on. You can find it will strip down. It can strip easily if you haven't got the right needle in for it, if that answers your question, Bronwyn. But Rasant is a cotton coating on a polyester core. So Berninas do love them. They will run really well through the Berninas, but you've just got to keep an eye again on cleaning your machine. They can fluff up a fair bit. Well, actually, I was having a great conversation yesterday with Jennifer, who runs the Australian distribution and the online store for Wonderfill. So as you know, we use Afina Wonderfill thread for our handwork, and we've got those. She was wonderful yesterday. We've had a delivery from her go AWOL, which we're working on finding at the moment. And I needed it. I needed it restocked for you today. I just left a list out there for Steve because we wanted the essential appliques back, and we wanted the new one back that we've got with the neutral colours. She got in her car and brought it over to me. That was so good of her. But we were talking about all the different threads that work good with different machines. So Rasant, yeah, absolutely. A lot of people use it in Berninas, but it's a combo. It's got the polyester core with the cotton coating. So it should behave like a cotton. It should in your machine. So you can run it with either or if you want to. Okay. So Marie, as I said, I've pulled your order out, and Steve's going to hold that. He'll hold that for you until we hear from you. And as I said, if there's anything that you would like that we don't have in stock, just send us an email. Or if you would like a combo of orders together, pop it in the comments on your order so that we grab that for you. And anything else that you felt you didn't want to ask while we were live, stick it in an email and I'll get to it this evening for you. That's not a problem. I had a couple of ladies that were interested in new 770, and I don't know if you're watching today if I have missed you. If you are, we don't have any stock in Australia at the moment, but hold tight. The new one's coming. There is a new one coming through in just before Christmas. So if you were interested in 770, again, email me, please, and I will let you know the status on what's happening with those. 720s are finished for now. I believe there's something new happening. I'm not allowed to say what it is, but there is something coming up. But yeah, Louise luckily got the last one. Best machine. So, in the sevens, just gorgeous. They're all gorgeous. And I hope you got a bit out of it today. I hope, you will get that BSR out if you've got one and have a go, or if you have bought yourself a darning foot, I want you to start practicing, and I will get our projects together ready for Bernina Club. All right. Enjoy the rest of the day. From where I'm standing, it's looking quite fabulous outside. So please enjoy the rest of your weekend. And you know how I had trouble ending the Facebook Lives? Steve's found how to do it from the computer out in the office. So I can just walk away now and he can end it for me, which is great. Have a great rest of your weekend. I will see you at 2 p.m. on Tuesday. We'll be talking machine applique tricks, and we'll be doing that in combination with launching Michelle Hill's beautiful quilt. All right. Bye. Thank you so much. Bye.